Yo, what's up, everybody? This is the Guys Podcast. I got my peoples here with me, Omar Muhammad. I got Terry Acosta and my sis Tiff. Today, she's going to introduce a topic. Sis, let's go.
All right, hey everybody. So today's topic is deep. Um, Comparing black men and women to their white counterparts is like comparing apples to oranges. Our histories aren't the same. Our starting points, our struggles, just are not the same. And white women have historically had the luxury of being soft. They were groomed to be wives, to be at home, and to be protected. But Black women were built to survive. We've worked in the fields, raised other people's families, nursed their children, and then still had to go home to take care of our own. We didn't get a chance to be delicate. Our softness has been buried under centuries of survival. And while white men were building legacies, black men were fighting just to live. They were ripped from their families, beaten, criminalized, and told that their lives meant nothing. So when we talk about the tension between black men and black women, we have to understand that the pain did not start with us. It was planted. So now, on social media, you hear black men, and I've heard it, why can't black women be softer? Why can't they be in their feminine like other races, white or Hispanic? But that comparison erases the context because softness doesn't just grow, especially when there's no protection. So we can't expect black women to rest when they have been carrying the weight of an entire community for generations. And the truth is, we're not broken. We were conditioned to survive instead of rest, to fight instead of submit, to build without help. So, this conversation is going to talk about comparing Black love to white love. And we need to ask ourselves, how do we rebuild trust and respect and safety between black men and black women so that we can finally like stop surviving and start thriving together? Whoo, so I know that was a a big opener. um but I want to hear everyone's opinion on this topic. And have you guys thought and or said or compared black women to other races? And do you think that's fair?
You go first, bro.
Um, so have I compared black women to other races? Absolutely, I have. Well, first we have to understand that this is their world, right? Like white people, we are currently living in their world for the last 6,000 years. They are the ones that have been ruling, and we have not been. So, in certain aspects, it's fair to compare, and in certain aspects, it's not because they aren't made like us, right? They We're created a certain way, and they are made a certain way. But at the same time, we all live and have a human experience. So, with them ruling in their world, and we see how they have been going and winning, we have to say to ourselves, we have to learn the strategies of their warfare. And this is a warfare, right? We want families, we want community, we want a nation. They have built families, they have been built communities, they have built nations. So if they're doing that, and if we're losing and they're winning, we need to look at them at some point in time and say, what are they doing to win? And take note and apply what works for us, and throw away the rest. As far as black women, they obviously have been losing long enough. So what they should be doing is saying who's winning and how are they winning. Black women should take notes from white women, regardless if they like it or not, to say, okay, this is what they're doing in order to progress in the community, progress economically, progress relationally, relationship wise. They need to be able to look and assess and take whatever they're doing over there and apply it over here so they can get the same results that those white women are getting. Because at the end of the day, Black women want the things that white women have, but they don't want to do the things to get what white women have. And if you want relationships, if you want families, if you want to be at peace with your man, then you should do what the white women are doing in order to win, which is being nice, talking to your man a certain kind of way, uplifting him, never demonizing him, and being a helpmeet to him altogether, right? If you're not doing that, then you will lose, because obviously that's been the complaint of Black men for the longest. So yes, I have compared black women to white women, but I also understand there's also a contrast of their nature that doesn't apply to our women.
Okay.
Okay, I can go. There's a lot to this, and I'll try to think about this or think this through without going too deep into the history, because I feel like I would have to research this, just like research paper material. But Black people in America and white people in America have different histories, like you said. With that, um, I believe that we maybe as a culture adopted wrong values at some point in time. And also, like you said, it's a bit of warfare going on. We're put against each other. I don't want to place blame here, but so I'm not going to. But we have been taught to walk away from each other, and like I said, the values have changed. What we value in our partners are very superficial, very materialistic. There's a plethora of reasons why I feel like relationships have degraded into that, and I think it affects every race in this Western nation. But I think that the people who have the less or the least amount of culture and religion to lean back on are going to be affected the most. And I think because we don't have, it used to be Christianity for Black people, but a lot of people are walking away from things like Christianity and things like that because of it not being, it being more like prosperity gospel and all of that shit. So I just don't think we have any culture or anything to fall back on, and we get fucking jaded by the Western culture and its materialism and all of that shit. I just don't think our values are there and what we find important in a partner. Like the reasons why we leave are stupid. The foundations of our relationships are stupid. I'm not talking about all Black people, of course. I'm just saying from what I see and what I see perpetuated in our media. I'm going to keep it short at that, but I feel like there's a lot to go into with this.
I think Tyree and Omar, you guys said some really insightful things, impactful things. For me, we looking at it, right? Of course, there were discrimination. There were things put in place to make it harder for us to be successful within this nation. Are there systemic issues that prevent Black people from having their piece of the pie? Of course. But what do we do now? I think when you look at it, we fell for the trick. We took the bait. The reason why Black women are in this position right now is because you listen to the white feminist movement, right? But you listened to what they said and not followed what they did, because after they gave you that information, they went back home to their husbands. During worst times, during Jim Crow segregation, I'm gonna keep going back to this, when we were getting lynched, we were more together. When we were getting massacred in the streets, we were more productive within our communities. We built our own communities. We practiced group buying within the community. We actually, our dollars circulated within the Black community more so than it does today. We practiced group economics. We depended on each other. We cared for each other. We put marriage above everything else. We putting the family first. It was a time where Black women were the most married, well, Black people were the most married people within this United States of America. It was a time where Black women prioritized marriage and was getting married earlier than white women were. So what's the excuses when we had more odds against us? We were getting lynched, we were getting hung, a woman got hung, stomach cut open, baby ripped out and stomped, and we were still getting married. So I don't want to hear no fucking excuses, none. It's not like we're celibate, because Black people are still promiscuous, and we know women choose who gets sex. So Black women are still sleeping with men, but whose fault is it they're picking the wrong men? As an adult woman, you don't know a good man from a bad man. Even if you were raised with a man that wasn't a good man and you felt the effects of that, you should want to stay away from that and kind of pick the opposite of what you were used to. So I'm not going to give any excuses to the Black community, even though we do have a lot of excuses. But amongst my people, I want us to do better, because we can't take excuses and cash those shits at the bank. We can't take excuses and become more successful with excuses. The only thing excuses are going to give us are more social programs like welfare, which we used to look down upon. So we have to look at each other, and we have to start listening to the issues that we're bringing up regarding why we're not coming together. And I think if we do compare, like Omar said, we need to look at the victor, who's winning, who's successful. And if you look at who's successful, who's winning, you have to take the things away that gave them that success and apply it. It has to be applicable to our communities. But yeah.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen, for that. I think all three of you made good points, and were really thoughtful about it. I'm a jump to O, because you said quite a few things. One, I want to say, not one of you specifically called out or mentioned anything about Black men. Now, I'm going to say, you guys said like we have to come together, but when you spoke individually, it was Black women. And as a Black woman with a panel of 3 Black men, I would, and I'm going to give you guys an opportunity, but I would have loved to hear y'all talk about the lack of accountability or the lack of space and protection that, you know, this systemic oppression has been like, has caused Black men to not be that shelter or that leader. I would have loved to hear you guys like automatically, you know, say that without being prompted. But we should take notes from white women. Again, I think this goes back to the fact, like, again, still comparing, like, well, and Mo, you said it too, you know, we need to look at who's winning. And the way it looks is that they have always been winning. And not that they will always win, because all great empires fall, you know, the power shifts. It just is how long are they in power for. So, you know, maybe the next 400 years starting from now will be our great reckoning. You know, I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful for that. But you know, I want to say, y'all don't think Black women want to rest?
But Tiff, we can't protect what we can't correct.
Yeah,
Right?
but it starts
So,
somewhere. It does. No, it starts somewhere, right? And that's just the history of just being a Black woman. I am always on the go.
but Tiff, can I
Go
let
ahead.
me just
Go
ask you a
ahead.
question? I was gonna say one thing. There's communities right now that are suffering, that are impoverished, that still understands that you have to respect and take the leadership from your man. Look at the Mexican American community
Mhm.
living in dire situations. There's impoverished communities, right? People coming immigrating here to America that are not wealthy, but they
Mhm.
still understand family structure. So
Absolutely.
even though you have an excuse saying, "Oh yeah, Black women had harsher conditions that caused them to feel, you know, like they've been put in a situation to where they didn't have a choice. They had to take on more roles. They had to get more jobs. They didn't feel protected." What about other cultures? What about other races of people who come here with nothing, but still?
But I think, and I don't mean to interrupt, but I
Yeah.
think that's what this topic is about, right? Is that we do hear the comparison a lot. So just like you're doing right now, well, you know, the Mexican culture,
Yeah.
It may
So
be
so my thing is, what's our problem?
but they get it, right? Like that's
Yeah.
basically what you're saying. I'm not, disagreeing with you because you're absolutely correct.
Yeah, other than white people, let's look at other cultures. Look at Indians, look at South Asians, look at the East Asians, look at other cultures. We are the ones that's losing the most, I think, right? So I mean, even if you look at, yes, the pinnacle, the standard, the white man and woman, cool. Let's move away from them. Look at other cultures where women have to put their kids on their back and sell oranges, and men have to go get jobs at home, like get on a pickup truck just to be picked up for a job at Home Depot. But they come home and they're still respected and treated like kings, where black men are not. So why would we want to protect a group of women that don't respect us, that give us the hardest time, that are at odds with us, that wants to quarrel with us? It's just, hold on, I'm hearing a lot of noise in the background. Hello?
Mm-hmm.
Yo,
Yeah. I'm hearing like a lot of like noise and like movement in the background. I'm sorry. But why would we want to protect women that can't be corrected? It's like,
Go ahead.
no, that's it.
Great question. And I can't answer for everyone, right? You know what I mean? We can't answer this question for all black men or all black women. I think there was a point in time where even when black men were being hung and castrated and families, they were being ripped away from families, that their first instinct was still to protect, was still to get back to their families, to fight. And if they had to die fighting, that was their goal. I'm going to die fighting for my family. And I think that, yes, black women have taken a path of more feminism, more independence. Absolutely. I also think that something got lost in translation along the way as well for black men, and what their role is in the household. And so one of the points, I forget who said it, but protection. I wrote that down. White women feel protected, hence they can breathe, they can rest, right? I think a lot of black women in our communities don't necessarily feel protected, they feel exploited. And so they're guarded and they feel like they have to do it alone. And I don't know what comes first, the chicken or the egg in this situation, where are black women supposed to take that leap of faith first, you know what I mean, and say, okay, I'm going to put I'm going to rest, I'm going to put my hands back and I'm going to let you lead? Or I think as a Christian, it's the black man's responsibility to say, hold on, woman, I got this. Go rest. Let me protect, let me provide, and then I think the black woman can then start breathing more easily. But if you were to ask me me personally, who should make that first move into that healing journey to switch the tides, I feel like it's the black man, because it is God, man, woman, child. And so, like I said, white women in other cultures, they feel protected. And whether you're poor or whether you have money, you know that there's going to be food on the table, or that, the kids are going to be taken care of, or that your man is going to, work 12 hours in the field picking berries, or 12 hours on Wall Street, banking, whatever that looks like on each spectrum. And so they trust and they feel. And we talk about values. Ty, you mentioned about we've adopted the wrong values along the way, and absolutely. I also think that there was somewhere after the civil rights movement where we were really impressionable. We were trying so hard to be like our counterparts in some ways. And that's when we stopped investing within our own communities and started taking our monies into their communities. That's when we started relaxing our hair and trying to look more European and things like that. And we got lost, and they sold us a lie like they have been doing. It's just that this lie was like, it was prettier than, what the Bible says you're supposed to suffer because you're going to, have all the glory in heaven, right? They went from that to, oh, get a job and go educate yourself and be an equal. And so that, that looked really enticing to Black women. And then, things happened in the community. We talk about the Vietnam War and the war on drugs, and so many things have, they criminalized Black men, period. And, if you're not working, then you need to be in jail. And so there was a lot of disruption in the household, not because of a Black man's doing or a Black woman's doing. And in those processes, in that time period, the Black woman couldn't necessarily take advantage of certain things that their white counterparts could when their husbands died or were in prison. They were blacklisted from certain things because of that. And then the system started putting things. We talked about this before. Oh, well, if there's a man in the house, you can't do this. Or if you're married, you can't, I don't know, get these certain loans or these certain government assistance. And it actually rotted, from the inside out of our values, but that was done on purpose, systematically. But I'm going to go back to the whole thing of, it sounds like, oh, you made the comment of, I'm not trying to demonize, one or the other. But when you spoke, it sounded like you were trying to demonize the Black woman, and again, it's just by what you said. I'm not saying that that's truly how you feel. But in this particular situation, I really want to hear, what do you guys think Black men can do to help create safe spaces for their Black queens?
Okay. And you can re-ask me that question, Tip, because I'm going to address what you said, what you were trying to ask me earlier, right? So first off, the reason why I spoke about Black women is because your question was, do you compare Black women and white women? So when you ask me a question, this is anyone in general, not just you, I'm just saying, when you ask me a question, my objective is to answer that question, right? So I'm giving you that answer to that question and why I have that answer to that question. So my focus was Black women and white women because that was your question,
Fair
right?
enough.
So that's that. Then two, the emphasis that I particularly have on women is because everything starts from the foundation, and the woman is the foundation of all communities, and she's the foundation of the home. So you don't start with building a home from the roof up. You start from the ground up. So the focus has to be on the woman because the woman does 75% of the work with the children. So in order for the children to grow up to do better, we have to make sure our women are in a good position and in a good headspace in order to teach our children better so that we can have a good community, right? So that's why my focus is there. And then you also said, you asked, should you said Black women were tired. I get that. And I understand. Trust me, I feel you, right? But if you're so tired, why are you making us fight you to give up the position? We are telling you, yo, give me the baton. In a relay race, the other person cannot start running until the baton is in their hand. They cannot take off. So Black woman, if you're tired, if you don't want to do it anymore, you don't feel protected, and we're saying, give us the baton. We got it now. Give us the baton. But you're trying to fight us. That's the problem, right? If you're trying to fight us, then we can't run the race for you. We can't finish it off. We can't be that anchor leg that's going to take us home. And that's what we're constantly talking about and constantly fighting with you in order to do. So you also asked, and we said this in a prior podcast, you asked who should give up. I mean, who should take the first step? Should it be Black men or Black women? And I get you saying Black men, right? Because Black men are leaders. But here's the fact of the matter. Black women are holding the baton, right? So if I come and I snatch the baton from you, you're going to be upset.
But it's
Hold on a second. Todd, you gotta type in, bro. I can't. Yeah.
So what it's leading to is now we're just going to have to bogart you because you don't want to give it to us. So now we're going to have to be nasty with you, and you're not going to. And we know a lot of women are based off of feelings. You're not going to feel good about us, but because you don't want to give it up, and because you're not, you're tired and you don't know how to do the rest. Now we have to bogart you and say, "Give me that shit," and sit down. But then you don't want to listen to us. So then we have to fight you now, and then we got to go out there and fight the battle outside in order to win the battle completely. You get what I'm saying? So it's a war on both sides. So that's where the comparison comes in. This is where I'm saying the comparison comes in with white women and black women. White women understand, even with the feminist movement, you never hear white women, or very rarely hear white women saying white men ain't shit. I've never heard it. But black women are fighting against black men and saying black men ain't shit. Even if you felt like that, there's certain things that I would not discuss with people on the outside because I have family business. If I have beef with my brother and beef with my sister, no one knows outside that I'm beefing with them at that particular time because that's family business. We don't have family business. Everything that we have, the white person knows, the white man knows, the white system knows, and then they use it against us, and then that's a problem. So we're saying stop talking crazy about us so we can do the work. If you have a problem, talk to us. And even if you do have to say it out loud, there's a certain way that you can say it, and there's a certain way that you do speak to someone in order to get what you need. My mother used to say, you catch more flies, you catch more bees with honey than shit. You get what I'm saying? So if you spoke to us a certain way, we would respond. Even when I make jokes and I'm like, yo, talk to me nice, it's because I know as a man, if a woman, even when I know a woman is trying to finesse me, if she talks to me a certain way, I'll say to her, I know you're trying to finesse me, but go ahead, fine, I'll do it. Because she just spoke to me a certain way. You get what I'm saying? So you can get whatever you want if you speak to us a certain way. But once you come at us with a certain kind of energy, that fighting kind of energy, then we are going to fight back. The natural masculine response is to fight back, and we don't want to fight with you. So we're forced to just fall back because you're saying you're the fighter now. So it puts us in a bad position. So that's why I stress the woman. And I know I'm going on, but so forgive me. But then what was your last question, Tiff? So I just wanted to cover all of that. What was your last question?
Yeah, thank you for that. About creating safe spaces. How can Black men, even and this actually goes hand in hand with what you were just saying about how Black women can be, difficult to deal with, or a struggle to, I hate to use this word, manage, but how can Black men create safer spaces where Black women can feel safe enough to be soft?
Right. Well, I'll say this, right? Even with me saying all of that about women and them being tough, this, that, and the third, if a woman is willing to do whatever we need her to do, even if she's giving us some kind of pushback, we still have to give her grace, right? Because we do understand that she has been conditioned to be a certain kind of way and to be tough. But if she is willing, that is someone to work with. So we might have to put in a little extra work in order for her to feel safer than any other woman in any other community because they haven't been conditioned like our woman. So if we can see that in her, then we can take the extra steps to say this person is willing, ready, and able. So what we have to do is just work a little bit harder. May have to talk to her a little nicer, may have to say it 2 or 3 times. We may have to compromise a little bit more in order for her to get the picture to see that we are the ones that are worth leading. But it doesn't start with someone that is unwilling. We need a woman that is willing in order to be able to create the safe space for her.
Okay, I love that answer. Ty?
Yeah. Well, I would like to, I guess, start with a clarification either. I specifically said I don't want to pick a side to blame because there are things to say on both sides. I don't really care, but I never really said specifically Black women. I did that on purpose too. So Yeah,
I did say, you know, some of you said we, and you know, so.
no, just because it was not. It's not a big deal because it's just like you sounded like disappointed. I'm like I'm trying to avoid saying specific because there are problems on both sides. It doesn't matter. I just wanted to clear that first. I specifically didn't say anyone's problem, but I wanted to ask you a question. What does protection mean to you as a Black woman? How do you feel not protected?
Protection for me means protection above and beyond physical safety. It means that I'm gonna make sure that my woman's mental is okay. I want to make sure that her health is protected. So for instance, infidelity, right? If you are cheating on your woman, you are not protecting her health, protecting her peace. You're coming home and you're dumping shit and stress and drama and baggage and expecting her to be the problem solver and to, you know, you're roping her into all of that stuff. You're not protecting her peace. And of course, absolutely, we want to feel physically protected as well. So I think that a lot of Black women may not be able to articulate that, or maybe a lot of women in general. Like it goes beyond, you know, physical protection. It's about protecting, you know, I need my man to pray for me. You know what I mean? To make sure that my soul is good, just like I'm praying for him and making sure that he's good. So that for me, that's what protection should look like from a Black man.
Hmm. Okay. Thank you for your answer. I often find that maybe I could be wrong about this, but what I look at in the world, I think that the protection that most women are talking about is linked to financial capability, and because financial capability equals power to a
Mhm.
degree. Access to resources allows you to be in a safer neighborhood, to put yourself in better predicaments, to give yourself a better future, a better possibility of outcomes. So I often find that part of protection from when women say that comes from that aspect. And I think because of that, and if you look at the economic castration of like Black men and things like that, and we tend to make less overall. I think that's one reason, and then that nature with the way that women are, if they feel that we can't provide for them, I feel like there's a lack of respect that that just seems like it's okay. And I'm going to get to where the men can go to, because I think I know the problem with men as well. But I just believe that women are taught, like, this is the goes back to the values thing. I think that Black women value the wrong things when looking for a man. That's we're gonna go on to about that. I think that when you value superficial things, like a
Mm.
lot of like I see it, and I've seen this often, like a lot of women in our culture I see will leave a man based off of his sexual capabilities and compatibility on a physical level and things like that. Like the things that you're saying, I don't believe that that's maybe that's what you're looking for, but I also look at the actions. Also, what men are you picking? You don't pick. When we look at the men who a lot of these women tell stories about, these are not men who displayed these qualities from the beginning. These are men who are more physically appealing, or like,
Mhm.
again, going back to more superficial things. Like, and then when I do see, last week we were talking about dating outside our race. When a Black woman dates outside her race, she's not necessarily concerned as much about the superficial, more about the practical things that a man brings to a relationship. So that's one side. On the Black man side, you can't really tell women. It's hard. You can't control anybody. So all we can do is be more competitive as a whole, to understand that I believe a lot of this not feeling safe comes from a lack of financial economic power. We don't fucking we're not able to move the needle as far as like creating safe communities and things like that. And there's a lot of reasons behind that, not just because we're not competitive. There are other things behind that. But I do believe that we need to get competitive as far as understanding that when you're behind as far as race, and this is don't get it twisted. Everyone else looks at it like a competition. Like we're all friendly in the United Nations room, but everyone knows when they go home that we're competing against other people. Their kids are competing against other people. Like they understand that. Like we smile at each other in public, but we like at home they know like they treat their kids to be ahead of other people's kids. So it's like we need to start working as a team. And so first, I just think black men need to be more competitive as far as going out in the world, becoming great things. Don't let what has happened, don't let whatever has happened in the past hold you back. Go get your education now. Go find ways to make money and be successful now. Step out on many businesses. Gain as much power as you can in different fields. And we as black men need to work better as far as together, create better infrastructure, because really the safety of women does depend on black men working together to create a safe infrastructure for women to exist underneath our own infrastructure, because really you don't exist under any sort of jurisdiction of our own. You know what I'm saying? Like if we were in control of how there are other communities who are in control of their own schooling of their children, their own communities, how they eat, like they have their own school buses, their own ambulances. These are communities that we can look at who like. So when we get to a point where because I can't make you can't make a woman respect you in that sort of way. I think that once we can become more competitive and more respected on a global scale, that naturally women may have more respect. But I also just believe that the way that a lot of women have been conditioned on our community is to not respect a man who can't provide financially, which can be understandable depending on the context. Also, again, who are you picking? You pick one man and then you want another man later. I'm not saying that other women don't do that, but they don't make certain life-changing decisions, such as like other women may not get pregnant by that bad boy guy when they're younger. You know, they might go have their college fun and experience, but they're not necessarily creating family with that person. You know what I'm saying? You know, so there's little things like that I've noticed. I'm not just gonna say it's all women, because of course there are women who do shit in other cultures too. There are fucking single mom white women, there are single mom Indian women. It's just that it tends to happen less because when they pick a man, it's not just based off of like, is he attractive? Does he have swag, and does he make me feel good? And those things. So I do believe that your insight is valuable, but I think that you are speaking as a more mature woman. I don't think I hear this out of 20-year-olds.
I was going to say that. I was going to wait until you were done to say. Now, if you probably would have asked me that in my 20s, or like, you know, when I first got married at 23, finance probably would have been part of that algorithm. And for me, finance is like, of course, you don't want somebody who's not pulling their weight, not contributing, not working, not being a productive member of society. You know what I mean? But I think what would help, that was for me, but I think in general for Black women, that is what's going to help them rest. What's really going to inside make them exhale, is this man, you know, he is looking out for me. I think those things are the key to kind of softening them, because we already know you can have millions and millions of dollars, billions of dollars, and be in worthless, harmful relationships and marriages. Your kids could be, you know, getting drunk and running people off the road and making bad decisions and all this stuff, but you have enough money to hide it. You have enough money, you know, to get plastic surgery or to make it look good and have people look the other way. So money does not solve that. What money is not going to solve that softness. It will superficially, like you've been talking about, but truly, I think the things that I named is what's really going, you know, to make a difference.
So why do women not date men who? There are plenty of men like that. Like to say like I believe that there are men who genuinely care, who just do not have the power, the economic. There's a lot of men who are broke, who lose their woman or fall out of love because of that. Or like I said, a lot of women, especially in our community, leave for sexual compatibility and things
Yeah.
like that. Like so, it's like these are not the like I hear you, I really hear you, but it's like these are not the things that they're picking men based off of. Like they want those kind of qualities out of a different kind of man. It's like, well, other cultures use bad boys as a phase, where our culture, women want these bad boys to be the productive men of our society. Like
Mhm.
the other women understand that biker, that dude that was drifting in the wind and doing whatever, and yeah, he's nice to be around and he makes me feel good, but I need Brad from accounting.
Right.
I need him. Like, when women see men like that, like there are plenty of corny, regular, just black men who just go to work. I'm not saying corny in a bad way, but this is what they would call these men.
But
And it
stability.
like, yeah, but that's what it looks like. And it's like, you know, we, like I said, again, we prioritize sexual compatibility, and that could be on the man side too.
Yeah.
Like, perhaps that's also a thing with us, but and I won't go too much. I mean, I won't go too much into it because men are visual creatures, but then also at the same time, you can't predicate your relationships based off of physicality and things like that, which I think we often tend to do. And then we want morals out of these type of people. Like,
Right.
that's dumb. So I think that's where it that's where it comes into, like, just learn to, I think Muhammad said this shit the other day, is just learning to understand that about being bored and understanding that stability is kind of going to be boring, and that's the best thing for the community is
Mhm.
to pick. You don't need to have, like, if you want excitement, go to the movies, go outside, go find a hobby. Like, stop trying to find excitement from the man that you're dating and telling this man, be a good man. That's not who that nigga is, bro. Like, and that's what I'm saying. When you look at the statistics of how many women, how many men have fathered women versus, I mean, have fathered children versus women, it's a fucking statistic. Basically, women sleep with the same type of nigga. It's a top percent, especially, like, so it's like, at some point, you don't pick niggas based off of those criteria. But then after you don't get those things, you be like, well, I wish I had those. But you don't really want those, because it's like you want the reliability of a Toyota, but you don't want to drive a Toyota. You want the Lamborghini, which I get, but the Lamborghini breaks down. Like, pick which one you want. That's what I'll give you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tip, you know what I would never let up? Here's the thing, Tip. I don't think people understand the things that I say, and this is why I will always be driven to my point. At a time, Tiff, I was beating up black men. See, here's, and I know we have to wrap it up, but let me just say this, man, because
Yeah, we're here now. Fuck it.
somebody got to get this work. I beat up on black men, Tiff, even though I lived in a household where my father was great, my uncles were great. I'm a father that's doing, I hate to give myself a pat on the back, but I'm an amazing fucking father. And I still beat up on black men. The things that you're saying I'm doing to black women, I did to black men. Right? Then I stopped when I read the statistics. All the bad statistics point to black women. Take yourself out of it, Tip. Don't, right? Take yourself out.
Yeah.
Having a high IQ is being able to be told something about people who look like you, even though it's not you, and say, let me be objective and just call it out. Like Tyree said, that I said, since the beginning of time, forget modern day time, more women have procreated than men. Women have always shared men, but now you have a problem with it. But yet you don't want the man that can probably give you the kind of life that you want. You want the man who's most likely to be having many different women. And then you get mad at it. Go with that corny guy that has an average salary and rock out with homeboy. And you'll never have to worry about him cheating on you until he levels up, right? Look at it right now. More black women have procreated than black men in modern day time, right? Then when you look at the older women, they're not mentoring and they're not raising the youth up. Why don't the black women who made mistakes go to the youth? Because I don't care about these old women. I care about the youth. I care about the babies.
Yeah, absolutely.
I care about the young girls who are teenagers going into adulthood. What are they going to be doing? Because they're going to be making the same mistakes that these older black women are making.
Yeah.
Right. So sometimes it's better to listen to a person that shares your same sex Like, I fucked up. I made a mistake. I'm an old woman with fucking cats.
Right.
And I got fucking laid off. My retirement is not kicking in the way I thought it would. So I'm fucked up out here. Don't make the same mistake as me, young lady.
Yeah.
Because if we focus on the babies, they're gonna get into marriages younger. Black women prioritize education. They prioritize having fun. And then when they hit 30, they're like, oh, where are all the good men? Where white women and women of other cultures, they're listening to their parents and they're getting married when they're in their fucking prime. And then when you look at other men of other races, I told Tyree this. I was like, when you look at other communities, the worst of the worst, men who can't even fucking chew gum and walk straight are married. Men with Coke bottle glasses out, and there's nothing wrong. I'm just saying, the ones that black women would joke on. Guys that are Coke bottle glasses, can't fucking walk, and can't chew gum and run at the same time. They're married with like 5 kids in. 5 kids in.
Yeah.
Who controls whose birth? Women do. Men, we sleep with who we can. Women sleep with who they want. Nobody can get birthed unless somebody enters you. You are the gatekeeper to the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys are having sex without being married. No one's putting a gun to your head and saying, yo, you got to do this. No, you guys are doing that. So like Omar said, you have to look at the foundation. Who's going to spend most of the time with the kids? The mom. Why? Because the Creator Most High wanted it that way. Because your breast is attached to your body, which gives sustenance to the baby while the man makes the money.
Mm-hmm.
So like Omar said, you got to look at the foundation. You got to look at the home. You are the cradle of the home. You are the foundation of the home. So we have to start with you. And then one thing I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna close it out. I kind of think part of what white supremacy did was give black women false hope to make them think that they're separate and give them a little bit more power, so that now they can look down on us. I think that's what happened. I think that the powers that be, they created situations where you gave the woman who's supposed to be provided for, be in a position to do the providing.
Absolutely.
Right. So now they destroyed our community. They took away the biggest responsibility of the man, which is protection and financial providing and provision.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So it's like these other races. They only fuck with us when white supremacy got their foot on their neck too. Then they want to be friends. Black people help us. But yet when you're accepted by the powers that be, is fuck us. And I think black women, no, and I'm not talking about you, Tiff. I'm saying, I think black women say, you know what? I got money, I got my degrees, I got my jobs, I'm occupationally, well off. Fuck these black men. But the problem is other races of other men are not quick to marry black women. Other races of other men are loyal to their women. So I think, and I told Omar this earlier, I think that if black women were being received the way black men were being received, I think black women would be quick to marry men of other races. I genuinely think that. But to sum it all up, I think that what can black men do better? We need to be more disciplined. Black men need to focus on staying focused, going to the gym. I think black men need to focus on creating better communities, putting the guns down. We need to stop killing each other in our communities. Black men need to stop committing violence amongst other black men. We need to stop poisoning our communities with drugs, because it's not the black women that's doing it, it's black men.
Mm-hmm.
Who's killing each other? Black men. Who's putting the drugs in it? Black men, right? Or who's committing violence amongst people who look like us? Black men. They're the main perpetrators within our community. Other people terrorize their own at the same rates, right? You're going to terrorize who you're close proximity to. But what we need to do is we need to be more disciplined. We need to be more structured. We need to be in the gym more. We need to, contribute to our economical situations within our communities. And I think we need to start being more articulate. We need to obtain more information and knowledge, even so that when we speak into black women, they respect us because of our articulation skills. Mm-hmm. And we need to stop being emotional. I think black men are too emotional.
Yeah.
I think because, an influx of being raised with women and no masculine father figure, we became overly emotional. We don't know how to speak to our black women. I think we don't know how to communicate with our black women. I don't think that we understand our black women, and that's all women. We have to tap into understanding how a woman moves based off her emotions, so that we can have better relationships with our women And like Omar said, we need to give our women a little bit more grace. We have to be a little bit more patient with Black women because they have been exposed to certain things that have hardened them over time. So yeah.
Thank you. I love that. I think that we're gonna save the comparing Black men to white men for another episode, because that is a whole nother thing. We're gonna close out today's episode. This one was really strong. I want to say that, I'm an empathetic person. I put myself in places and situations where I see it's not just I don't have a bubble. And whether that's mentoring or, being with the youth at church or in these nonprofit organizations that I deal with, I see what is going on, the lack of values, the lack of discipline and leadership that our young people are coming from. And it is, I don't even think there's a word for it. It's very disheartening. Black women have always been the backbone, the builders and the nurturers, the healers. And Black women have poured into their communities while being told, they're too strong, they're too independent, they're just too much, their attitude, but their strength came from necessity. It wasn't by choice. And I think that that's a message that I want, especially our Black men that may not be as educated or in tune with what's going on and it's just surface. I need them to hear that message, that it came from centuries of carrying what no one else could. We know that Black men, you are not the enemy, but we are your mirror. You can carry your own wounds, your own battles, and too often you've had to fight them alone. And when you weren't around, we had to fight our battles and your battles. You know what I mean? So instead of comparing ourselves to a world that was never, created for us and never understood our story and who we are and our strength, we need to stand together and rewrite it. Black love isn't meant to look like white love at the end of the day. It's meant to be so much more deeper and resilient, more sacred, more beautiful, more spiritual than white love. So that's the kind of love that, I hope that us on the panel and everyone out there that's listening is really thinking in their mind of what Black love is supposed to be. So let's stop comparing apples to oranges and start cultivating what's uniquely ours. Let's start healing and respecting each other and understanding our legacy so that we can start building it.
That was beautifully said, Tiff. I appreciate this discussion. I appreciate you guys.
Yes, sir.
Same.
Omar, Tyree, Tiff, and I'm Octave. This was a great discussion. Until next time, the Guys Podcast. We out.
Peace.